Hi, this is Jane Celia Hatch. I am the podcast host for Explore the Unknown. I was going to go live today, but it's still not working. My speech was very delayed. So I'm just going to pre-record and this will be uploaded. So it is almost 1 o'clock and I'm expecting two really special guests, John Whitberg, Super Soldier, and Riley Nuskin Nusk, another Super Soldier. And they're really renowned within the community because of their incredible knowledge of the secret space program, off-world wars, what's going on in all of the planets in this galaxy. And there's many, many more than has we have been told by NASA. They have information about the US Navy and their abduction of children and how these children were put through MK Ultra and many other programs like IBIS to create super soldiers and assassins. And I was in that program too, and we fulfilled all kinds of duties for the US Navy, for Nachtwaffen, the Germans off world, and often private corporations were involved. Raytheon was one of my abductors, Raytheon Corporation. So anything involved in defense and missile building and all of the above, uh, super soldiers were involved in. I don't call myself a super soldier at this point. I don't have those memories. I have other memories of being a pilot, telepathically guiding spaceship looking things like the 1950s UFOs. They were actually using children and ETs, and any child that had like ET bloodline, like I had Pleiadian, they sought us out at birth and then, abducted a lot of us to use in the secret space program. But today's not about me, of course, and I know I have a wide audience, and it goes anywhere from targeted individuals to survivors of MK Ultra mind control, to survivors of family court. But it's all really we share the same enemy, whatever you want to call it, the Jesuits, Freemasons, the Anunnaki, the CIA. We all if you've been anyway enslaved by our system, we share the same enemy. And the space program, I believe that many targeted individuals, the precursor to that was abduction and MK Ultra and the secret space program. And they used the targeted individual program to keep us under wraps and traumatized and without resources, so that hopefully none of us ever do what I'm doing right now, which is exposing them. So I'm going to wait a bit. I came on a little bit early because I was going to try to live stream, but I've got to have a producer. I swear I could make so much content if I had a producer, but I'll try again to do a live stream, maybe the next interview. But there was such a delay. So this is, as I keep saying, it's pre-recorded. So John Whitberg, I might as well give a little bit of background even before he joins us at around 1 o'clock. And John, it's very hard for him to get on board not on board, but to be able to get the time and the privacy to do these videos. He's living in a kind of a restrictive environment. I also think it's hard for Riley Nuskin because, I think his consciousness is still being taken by the secret space program. And he's used off world at night, so he's very tired. So both of them, it takes a lot, I think, to get to these interviews. And I just said in a post, they should be national treasures. They have so much information about what's going on off world. So I'm going to go ahead and describe a little bit about John Whitberg, and hopefully they'll be with me soon. He is a survivor of the U.S. Air Force. I actually got this online. I think it wasn't Wikipedia, but it was that first AI thing. Abducted at age 8. He has been a diplomat, an archaeologist, technical retriever, soldier, off-world, and of course, super soldier, which often involves cybernetics, means parts of their body have been synthesized to make them super strong Supermans, and that's done by an organization called Kruger. Um, he's been to Mars, Europia, Vega Prime, and has been in Project Looking Glass. His alters, because they split our brains into alters so that they can use different parts of our brains for different projects, are Kyle, Henrik, Alex, and Adam. He has been involved in time travel programs. He has memories of being sent back to Vietnam War to change the outcome, and he's also was sent back to the Civil War to change the outcome. And they can still do that now if they don't like. They, meaning the off-world Anunnaki, can change timelines that have already happened. So that's what's happened when you, even in a book, if you think you saw something, I forget what that's called, and then you go back again and it's gone. Like that's what they're doing in the time travel program, is going back in time and changing things that they don't like, or eliminating people that may have had success in liberating us. They can go back in time and they can do almost anything. I've heard they can't change the timeline of Jesus. That's set in stone. Um, there's probably other restrictions. I believe there's only a certain amount of timeline changes you can do without really causing major disruption and upheaval on the planet. But they're the off-world entities congruent with our own militaries around the earth. They can do things you can't even imagine. It's beyond Star Trek and Star Wars. Riley, who is also going to join us shortly. Riley, he wants to be called Nuskin, Nusk, is a verified Kruger ranked agent, CIC-IO confirmed, and IBIS Theta Echo. Hello, John.
Howdy.
How are you? Are you doing okay?
Yeah.
Good. I'm not live, but that's okay.
Okay, where's Ashton?
Um, he hasn't joined yet. I've just been introducing both of you.
Oh, okay.
Um, I don't think, I mean, it's only 101. So I just
Okay.
introduced you, and I'll go through it again and see if you want to add anything. Uh, how are you with time and availability?
I should be fine.
Great. I'm so glad to hear that. You're looking good.
Thanks.
You
Thanks.
don't sound good, but you look good. You sound
Yeah.
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 So this is funny. Every time I have you on, I introduce you a little differently. I went online and this is like the AI version or the Wikipedia. It says John Whitberg claims he is a survivor of the US Air Force secret space program. Of course, they had to phrase it like that. Abducted at age 8. He has been a diplomat,
No.
archaeologist. Huh?
I was abducted at age 6, not 8.
Okay, well, that's what it says. I thought I said 6. You're
Oh.
a diplomat, archaeologist, technology retriever. That's a new term. You were a soldier. You were a super soldier in many of your altars. You've been to Mars, Europia, Vega Prime, and you've been in Project Looking Glass. Your altars are Kyle, Henrik, Alex, and Adam, and you've done time travel, including back to the Civil War and Vietnam. Correct?
Yeah, that's not even looking at the surface, much less
I
scratching
know.
it, but yeah.
I know it's so
Yeah,
you're hard to introduce. Like, how do
I
I
know.
like
I I
I
I, I
it,
usually I usually give people the bio that I have on Penny's show, but
all right. Well, why don't
yeah.
you go ahead and add a little bit of that? I want to say, and here's Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. Like, how do you introduce Superman? It's like how do we?
I'm I'm pretty much just a normal dude from Texas, but I've lived a pretty
Yeah.
crazy life that I didn't allow myself to believe was real until I was 18. Uh, so yeah, and most of it is not these American programs that they're talking about here. Most of it is German, but that's a whole show in and of itself, and we've done shows about that, I believe, already. But
Yeah, we're going to try to stick to one subject, which is the moon landings, because there's so many layers to your life and so many alters, and they've all
yeah,
lived lives. And how to, what, I can't just say you're a Montauk survivor or a super soldier, because it just, there's multiple layers and multiple lives. And
yeah.
and I also gave an introduction for New Skin, and I'm assuming he's going to be here
I'm gonna
soon.
go check on him.
Yeah, I started to go live, but it wasn't coming through, but next time it will.
Okay, well, our show for next week, tune in next week. That one needs to be pre-recorded because I have to splice in music videos and stuff.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. And I mean, I really like pre-recorded. I do want to, learn how to do the everything was set up. Julia was going to do the moderating, and it's just like there was this delay when I was trying to do live. So I just said, I'm switching. Did you check on New Skin?
I've told him show is starting now.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask you guys a few questions about NASA and the moon and the Apollo 1 and then the Katy Perry weirdness called the blue something, and then of
Oh,
course
I don't even know about
Artemis.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, supposedly they went to the beginning, the end of the Earth's atmosphere, and it was all women, and they were all dressed in blue, and it was a very weird psychological operation, I believe. And then they came back down and wanted us all to believe that they actually left the Earth atmosphere. But I'm sure you guys will have some interesting comments. So I'll share different images and hoping you can and I probably will just start now. First, I
Okay.
wanted to ask you, how many moons have you been to?
Hundreds.
I love that answer.
Yeah. I've recently been in my head cataloging from my memories all the planets I can possibly remember. And it's far more than I thought there were. We're looking at upwards of 500. And moons which orbit gas giants are just as likely to be habitable as planets are. In fact, probably slightly more so because there are more gas giants than there are terrestrial planets. So, um, yeah,
So how many moons? Hundreds you've been on. Are they all very, very
I'm
different,
sure.
or are they all very similar?
They're they vary all over the place. Yeah,
And what is our moon? You've been on it. How many times do you think
yeah.
you've been on our moon?
Oh, I don't know. I can distinctly remember about 4 times.
And what were your missions?
One time was during my first abduction after I was taken to Cheyenne Mountain as a child. We'll be talking a whole lot about that in our show on Monday. But
Okay.
right after my programming was complete, I to be shipped out of the solar system to where I grew up the first time, I was we went via the moon. We went via a Stargate onto the moon, onto a an underground hangar basically, and it opened up. And when the craft went up and you could look out the window, you could see the north pole of the moon down below and the Earth off in the distance. So that's how I knew it was the moon. We weren't there more than 10 minutes, but so I didn't see much. I can remember a time which is in my first book wherein I was sent to rescue um an officer's daughter from a slave market on the moon, which was quite an upsetting incident. I can remember one time uh, fighting in what was known as the Battle of the Harvest Moon, I believe is what Mark Richards called it in the early 70s against the Orion Syndicate, which I'll talk about what that is some other time. Anyway, fighting against some of them. And I can also remember another time, and I don't know what this is at all connected to, but I remember that there is a museum in the center of the moon.
Our
Um,
moon.
yes, yes, our moon. There is a huge museum there, and to enter it, you walk down this hallway, and the it's an arched hallway, and the ceiling and the walls are plastered with all the different flags of everyone who has a presence there, or logos as well for companies. Um,
Do you remember the
and
flags and the logos
a lot of them, yeah,
specifically? Do
yeah,
you remember the countries and the businesses?
yeah, yeah,
Can you name them?
yeah. I saw uh, basically the American flag, of course. I saw basically every European country. Um, China, Japan, Lebanon, interestingly, uh, Israel, South Africa, Brazil, Canada, Australia, all over the place, and
Does that
various.
mean does
Go
that
ahead.
mean they've been there or they're just doing business there or both?
Either, either. I'm sure it varies. Uh, and there were also ET flags that I don't know what what they are, but there were flags of ET species, and there were also company flags for for from various companies that you would recognize the names of possibly that are part of the American military industrial complex, such as Raytheon, Boeing, uh, BlackRock. Let's see, PepsiCo, Mondelez.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and off-world companies as well, such as Arasaka Robotics, which I talk about a great deal in my book, and KBMG, Hyperbelt Mining Group, and so on.
It's mind blowing compared to what we think we know about the moon. We have about as much knowledge as Fred Flintstone compared to what's really going on out there. So I know
Yeah.
there's off-world, there's mining, archaeology, the sex trade, the drug trade, the food trade. It's all going on in all these different planets. And how much goes on the moon in regard to all those organizations and activities?
These days, less and less.
Really? Why is that?
Um, because these people are migrating out of the solar system altogether more and more. They're abandoning it. They're anticipating the fact that in about 10,000 years, the sun will become a red giant and absorb everything up to the moons of Jupiter. Uh, they are also anticipating the fact that people now have better and better telescopes and that by and could very easily observe them, or soon they'll be able to, and so they'll be violating the secrecy treaties that they were forced into signing. And them being here in such proximity is a violation of the Prime Directive, which, yes, the Prime Directive does exist. And
Good.
so, yeah. And so, yeah, they're migrating out of the solar system altogether.
Planning ahead, I'd say 10,000 years ahead.
Yeah, these people don't do anything at the last minute ever.
They're so organized. So how are we being affected on the Earthlings on the planet? How are we being affected by what's going on? You sex trafficking is probably a big part.
I'm sure, well, any kind of trafficking off-world we're being affected by, and the
Yeah.
moon is some sort of a part of that. Oh, excuse me. So
Who
any
owns
kind of
the
a
Go ahead. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Who owns the moon? Is that a good
Draco.
question?
Yeah.
Dracos do?
Yes, the Draco. Uh, this solar system is part of the Draco Empire. Um, and Earth and the moon are considered protected states, meaning home to a developing race, which is us. And so that's why there is all these treaties that aliens and or the SSP can't show themselves.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah.
Um, so yeah, I was corrected by Penny yesterday. I said I thought the Dracos were ruling our planet. She said the Anunnaki. Can you distinguish the difference between the two groups?
The Draco are a collection of 7 reptilian species. Uh, and the Anunnaki are a human variant species. The Anunnaki are not reptilian. The Anunnaki are what you would call the tall whites. Um, Anywhere from 8 to 12 feet tall, or no, 8 to 14 feet tall. Uh, wraith-like, bright white skin, which is semi-translucent, white hair, various colors of eyes.
And which one do you think is controlling the Earth and the moon?
Anunnaki.
Do you agree?
Yes, I do. The
And do they
Draco don't the Draco don't really care about here. It's like this solar system to the Draco is like their version of Appalachia or something.
and we're the mountain men and the cows that they herd
Yeah,
around.
kinda,
And they
yeah.
use us either for food or slavery or
The,
sex or power.
the Draco do not eat humans. That's a racist myth.
Or-
The Anunnaki do eat humans. The Draco do not eat humans. Human flesh does not taste good to reptilians. Um, yeah, the Anunnaki do eat us. Uh, there are Draco, some of them who take human slaves, yes. But
Now, who comes here to animate the dead to bring them off planet for to use as soldiers or slaves or miners? Is that the Anunnaki?
sometimes, sometimes it's other uh, ET species who have had bodies sold to them by anyone, by usually by governments. And sometimes it's the governments themselves via their own SSP, whatever their SSP may be. And sometimes it's corporations with an SSP.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's who's ever going to make a buck and who's top dog or low dog or
yeah.
whatever war is going. Are there any wars going on right now on the moon or in other planets or the Orion War, any of those?
The Orion War ended about 30,000 years ago. There's no war on our moon. There's always stuff going on in the moons of Jupiter, um, because it's right next to the asteroid belt, which is mined quite a lot. There's always stuff going on around Pluto and Pluto's moons as well, because of the Kuiper belt, which is also a mining hotspot. There's always some stuff going down in those places, but our moon is quiet right now, as far as I am aware.
I think I want to get into it with the sharing on the different supposed moon landings and get your opinion. I don't know. Do you want to check in with Newskin one more time? I'm pretty sure he got the link, but maybe something's up
I
with him. I
texted
know.
him. I texted him. Show is starting without you. He hasn't even opened it up yet. So
Okay. I hope so. You
maybe he
got the
got the
link.
wrong time. Yeah, maybe he got the wrong time. I don't know.
All right. Well, let's just go ahead if
Yeah,
you're okay with it.
sure. Yeah.
Um. Okay, so I'm going to start with the Apollo, the first supposed moon landing in 1963, July. I remember it, and I remember everybody being spellbound. Now I think to myself, how? So here is supposedly the module floating above the moon. No, that's the moon and the surface. Oh, and here's okay,
Yeah.
here's the landing. So, what is your opinion on this image? Do you think they actually went there?
Not in this incident, no, but there needs to be a caveat.
Okay.
This doesn't mean we've never been to the moon.
Oh, I know. I
What
know.
this
You just
what Yeah, what happened is we were on the moon decades before this.
right.
We've the Americans have had a base on the moon since roughly 1934. And the Germans actually didn't bother settling there until the 50s. So it's one of the few cases where we beat them by doing this. But at any rate, so
So
no,
we were
they
go ahead.
went there. They didn't go there. Sorry. They
That's
had
o-
a chamber where they faked the footage. And this filming was done by Stanley Kubrick, which I mentioned that on my show recently about The Shining, which references this. Uh, Not explicitly, but it is in there.
Yes, I think a lot of people now realize this was a film production. I mean, at least us on the fringe of the mainstream media, but a lot, I think it's growing as we understand, filming more and the deep state more, that most of us realize this was a fake. And we've been there before, and, you're saying hundreds, thousands of times after. Why did they choose this moment in time and to say to us, we went to the moon, aren't you proud? 1963. What was the point? If they hide all the other ones, why did they want us to believe this one?
I think there was a plan at the time for it to begin slow disclosure, which failed, or which was blocked, and which has not progressed since. That's what I think and suspect. This was also pretty much during the height of the UFO craze. Uh,
It seemed like maybe the president at that time wanted to inject some sort of high moral ground or American success.
yeah,
To There must have been something going on. So these are the images that we know now were done in a studio in Armstrong, and everybody in on it was lying. Look at this. This is
yeah,
supposedly what landed,
yeah,
isn't it? What do you think of this craft? I'm sure you've seen a lot of spacecraft.
yeah. It looks like shit.
That's what I think too. It
Yeah,
looks like, how did we ever believe this? But what was that? 60s, 40, like 60 something years ago. just shows how much more naive we were and non-critical that we would accept this as reality.
On the other on the other hand, I think people were actually more capable of handling the truth back then. But
Yeah, there in some ways
people,
there was
pe
less mind
pe
control at that point.
yeah, people were less religious. They were not as exposed to the things that they now say are fiction, etc. But
So how do you think they got these guys to I mean everybody had to lie. I mean, I guess if they stepped out of the narrative, they would be eliminated.
yeah, I mean, it's also possible that they abducted them and implanted memories.
Yes,
So th they may not have knowingly been lying. Who knows?
exactly. There's so many alternatives to what was really going on or layers and
Hmm.
so I think I have so this is NASA's Orion spacecraft's picture here from one of the cameras mounted on the solar array wings. Okay, okay. I'm skipping ahead. This is supposedly what the Artemis spaceship. So I'm
Yeah,
skipping
what
ahead.
is, I don't know about this. Did they actually go to the moon?
I'll show you pictures. Supposedly they orbited the moon. They orbited
Oh,
one
right,
side of the moon, and then
right.
supposedly they came back and but
Yeah.
I have more pictures of that whole thing. But the next yeah, that's they're saying one of the astronauts is an an actress. But I wanted to go into because this is the next, if we wanted to be sequential, this happened, was this
It's funny she's holding her hands almost in the Baphomet pose.
yes, there's lots of reference, all kinds of clues that this was not on the up and up. This
Yeah.
one got so much attention. She was floating around looking at a daisy. Katy Perry holds a daisy while floating in zero gravity during their Blue Origin. This was supposed to be the premier flight for space travel for the average person. You know,
Hmm.
I think very few people believe this actually happened. There's
I would
her
hope so.
Yeah, I know. If it gives me a little bit of hope, if anybody thought this was real, that's scary. Here's her kissing the earth.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, this is this is supposedly what they arrived back in, and they had this big I know, dramatic opening of the thing, and there was all kinds of weird stuff going on. They were falling and oh, yeah, this is when Katie walked out and she's being greeted back to Earth. Uh, so
Yeah, it's weird.
yeah, yeah, and if you see like some of the footage, where they point out all the flaws in the whole so-called adventure. I don't know why they did that. There's always some strange reason the deep state has for these psychological operations. I don't know, the fact it's all women, they're all in blue, they're promoting something.
Hmm.
I don't know. It looks like an advertisement for REI or something. As, right?
Yes, right.
I mean, also like energy, if you're an energy reader, like you can sort of tell what people are thinking. And I saw with this and also the one coming up, Artemis 2, like they don't hold the energy if someone has just been to another planet or out of this atmosphere. They're just sort
Yeah.
of, you feel like they just walked out of their hotel room and showed up for the photo shoot.
Hmm.
Yeah, and this thing is just I don't do you have any comments?
What? Yeah,
Do you
I
have any
agree that
comments?
there's something weird going on. I don't know what exactly. I'm sure it'll come out eventually.
Yeah, I think it is out. I could spend all day on the conspiracy theories on this, but we can go into the most recent, which was the Artemis. Artemis 2 recruit returned to Earth on April 10th after a nearly 10-day record-setting mission. The four astronauts traveled farther from Earth than any humans in history. What do you think about that, John?
Press X to doubt.
Um, Nutrition in space. Nutrition is essential for any deep space mission. Before humans can live for long periods on the moon, Mars, or beyond, they must learn to grow reliable food sources like plants and algae. To prepare for this, NASA and its partners are studying how the space environment affects these organisms aboard the International Space Station. How did you eat on the moon, John?
Not very well. We had replicators, which recycles waste of any kind into a facsimile of food.
I never
So,
stopped marveling at that story. Go ahead.
yeah, so that's what we ate usually. There were, I do remember at one time that I went into a shop that had imported goods, but it was so ridiculously expensive I couldn't afford anything. But in that shop they had like real imported food.
From the Earth?
No, probably not. Well, actually, they had Jack Daniels, so probably yes. That was probably from Earth. The other food, no, it was from farming planets.
That's really interesting, but that would take another whole interview to talk about farming planets off Earth. So when you went to the moon, you were going through portals, so you didn't have to
Uh,
worry about 4 days of food in
for
packaged
for
food. Is that correct?
for the Battle of the Harvest Moon, we did take a ship, and it got there in about 3 minutes.
So you didn't have to pour boiling water into pre-dehydrated food.
No, no, that does exist. That's not a
Yeah,
for, although it's a little bit of a luxury item at sometimes,
yeah.
but because
And
water is a commodity in space, of course.
oh,
Like
I bet. Yeah.
water is more precious than gold in many places.
Yeah, we should keep that in mind here on Earth when we're chasing after all kinds of so-called valuable, money items, whereas water is the source of life. And we
Yeah,
have an abundance here. I mean, they're using it up on AI and whatnot, but I mean, I would have to say that the Earth, one of the values here is water. One of the valuable assets is water. Is that
yeah,
correct? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So is it correct to say that the replicators, sort of exactly like they were on Star Trek, you put something in and something comes out, and of some value in eating? Is it hierarchical, like the elites get the really good replicators and the peasants
yeah,
get the
or the officer class, which I have occasionally been a part of. I've occasionally had access to the good replicator. Um, and it's, it yes, it does shift by class.
I guess we don't get away from class distinction even on the moon.
No,
Or
there it's probably worse, actually, because
that's interesting.
yeah, what are the things that are basic comforts here are much more luxuriant on the moon and in a lot of places in space. So a middle class person here would be extremely wealthy on the moon.
Yeah, I think we don't, I mean, we certainly can criticize their Earth and what's happening. I mean, Trump is basically on a, well, Newskin said Trump's job is to destroy America so that the off-world Germans can colonize. I think he said by it wasn't
Well,
2026, but it was very soon that they were going to come in and colonize from the wreckage that he's going to make of the country.
well, to be honest, their living in one of their colonies would be a massive improvement over everything. But
Do you agree with that hypothesis that that's Trump's
I
job coming from the Nakwaffen people? He's
I think
being
it's
assigned.
I think it's possible.
Okay.
I kind of would I would rather it be that than just than what it looks like. But yeah.
Before we leave
I'm one of
NASA,
I'm one of the minority of people in the community who I would much rather be in space right now than here. Um,
yes, I we've talked about that before, and I can certainly
yeah,
understand why. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of us would not like to be here right now. But I
yeah.
don't think everybody has the range of knowledge of what's available off this planet. I think you have that ability, and I think you do have a place off world where you see your son.
We see each other on operations often. Yeah. Um, I do actually own a house out there. It's not really a house, it's more of a shack. That still cost me, an arm, a leg, and a pint of blood, but it's mine.
Is that what
I
you're
just,
raising money for? Is to pay for your house on another planet, or is it already paid for?
it's already paid for.
I wouldn't blame you, believe me. I think I'm going to start doing because I can't find a place here. Well, I have a place in Santa Fe, but I've been trying to get back east forever. Maybe I ought to go
Yeah.
off Earth. It'd probably be easier than living on Cape Cod. Um,
Oh, a lot, I'm sure, and cheaper.
oh my gosh, I know. So before we leave NASA site, which I brought first just to give them, a little bit of play. What is your opinion of NASA? How much that they're putting out is real information?
Well, you know what NASA stands for?
What?
Not a space agency.
Oh, they're telling us, right? They're not
Yeah,
hiding it, I guess.
yeah, NASA is a lying organization
Yeah.
created to create a fake image of space, which for people to believe.
And it's probably getting its money from God only knows what. Who knows? Trafficking or political sources. Who knows? Let's
Yeah,
see. Okay. There's my friend. Let's see. Can you see what I'm seeing? Let's see.
yeah.
Proof the Artemis moon mission is staged. Let me start it from the beginning and hopefully people can hear it. Saturday's dinner. In space, you really just eat all of your food out of bags of some kind, plastic bags or little metallic bags, because we have to rehydrate a lot of our food. This is actually shrimp cocktail. Yeah, so watch the tail the bag leaves on Jeremy's face. So that's this guy right here. This bag's just floating in the air. If you don't know with this footage that they send out, all these things that are floating is actually CGI, is completely computer animated, and that's why there's so many inconsistencies with it. And if you look at the edges of it, you'll see it's been rehydrated already. It makes so added dessert to it, and the shrimp soak back up the water, and it's actually pretty tasty. They're not eating anything. So you see, look right here. Oh yeah, it goes right into his head. It's computer animation. And it, okay. Oh, this is interesting. I think this is from Wikipedia about Apollo 1.
Okay.
This says the first moon landing was in Nevada desert, filmed in Nevada desert. WikiLeaks releases moon landing cut scenes.
I believe that's correct on the location.
I don't know if this was just released.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yep.
They're getting directions from the director.
Mm-hmm.
Action.
Mm-hmm. Well, if that's real, that's very interesting.
Yeah, I know. I came across it, today, and I thought I didn't have time to look into the background, but it's WikiLeaks. My only question is it new or old?
Yeah. Hmm.
All kinds of cameras, microphone.
Yeah.
I'll just play another minute of it. Wow. Oh, that's crazy.
Assuming it's real, yeah.
Yeah, assuming it's real. Yeah, I think it's about uh 11 minutes. I'm just gonna play another 30 seconds. Oh, oh, wow. That's powerful if that's real. This is another one. Just showed that one. I don't know what happened here. I don't need that. This is just supposedly the takeoff of the Artemis 2. This guy says it doesn't go straight up. It curves towards the Bermuda Triangle, but this is
Mm.
whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, you can't just leave the atmosphere in a straight line up
Okay. Well,
because
that's good to know.
the Earth is surrounded by belts of radiation.
That's interesting.
Yes, the Van Allen belt. Only at the poles and a couple of other places are there spots where you can exit.
You don't experience this as a super soldier, secret space crew. And this must seem kind of archaic way to get places to you.
Like Stone Age level.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
what
joke I'm not joking. That's
I know
how
you're
it
not. Like I know you're not. I was just, the metaphor is perfect. It's just
yeah,
it must seem ridiculous to you that
yeah,
that's what they're showing us is
yeah,
Stone Age. Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was thinking too.
Like a Cro-Magnon beating something with a rock, you know, and that takes him to the moon.
uh I'm not sure what oh, this is the news conference. I'm just gonna play a minute. I just like psychically speaking, watching these people talk, they look like they're lying from my,
Hmm.
reading their energy field.
Yeah.
They're acting. I think this is their pre trip to the moon drama.
Artemis II crew news conference. We're joined today by Artemis II Commander Reed Wiseman, pilot Victor.
We've been overseas. We went over to Germany to see where the European service module is manufactured. We went to Iceland and did
It's
geology.
very laggy.
It's very what?
Laggy.
The film?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe if I make it smaller.
We've been up to Canada. They have those charter friends.
It's a tiny bit better.
Everywhere we go, there's unbelievable excitement. I wish we could take you all with us so you could see the excitement that is out there.
It'll probably show up fine in the recording.
While we have been doing that, two things have really come into focus. First, the first time we saw our boosters was out in Utah, and they were just saying what's getting loaded onto a rail car to get shipped down to Kennedy Space Center. Jeremy and I were at Nishu when our core stage rolled out, got put onto a barge, and floated over to Kennedy Space Center. And I guess 2 weeks ago, we were at Kennedy, and there was the Orion spacecraft getting enshrouded in the launch abort system in the facility called Alaska. Over in the vehicle assembly building, there's our core stage. The boosters are all assembled. They're strapped on the side of the Boeing core stage, and the United Launch Alliance interim cryogenic.
I don't know much point in watching this. He does continue to say that Artemis 2 will also pass by the dark side of the moon, which has never been seen by human eyes. What do you think of that statement, John?
That's not true. They did flybys of it in the 50s. He's Even if you believe in NASA, he's exaggerating, but
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to show the picture of the real Artemis, the the Greek goddess of the moon and the protector of children and all things wild, which NASA is not.
uh-huh.
She is the goddess of the moon, but she also protects children and animals. And so I feel they're using her, usurping her goddess energy, but not duplicating who she really is and what that energy is of Artemis.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we just touched the surface as usual with our conversations. Did you have anything else to add about moons or the moon or what's
And
upcoming?
not much about our moon, really.
Yeah, you seem
Um,
bored with our moon.
well, it's not bored. I don't know that much about it
And
because
what
I
about
haven't
the
been
other
there.
moons?
I know a lot about many other moons, Europa particularly, because I lived there for 50 years. Um, so I know quite a lot about Europa and the other moons of Jupiter. So
Where is Europa? That's out of our galaxy, or is it just one of the
no,
thousands they haven't told
no,
us about?
it's a moon of Jupiter. You can Google it right now.
Okay.
Yeah. There's even some real pictures of the surface of it. Um, but it's quite a place. It's a panthalastic world, meaning it is covered entirely in ocean, and the first few miles on the surface are frozen solid, and then going down, there's miles deep liquid water and mountain ranges underground or underwater, and there's cities underwater. There's a native population of these eels, they glow blue. They're about 100 feet long, and they have human-like arms. There's
I remember
volcanoes.
that.
Yeah, there's volcanoes under there which spew purple lava out into the water, which solidifies into hard rocks. There's there's many, many bases there, including Europa Galactic Checkpoint, which is the main one of two checkpoints to get in or out of the solar system. The third one is The second one, sorry, is near the sun and it's administered from Mercury. And let's see, what else about Europa?
That's a
So
lot.
I worked at that checkpoint for 50 years in one altar.
Which altar?
Adam was his name. Adam Wrestler.
Is that in your
Um,
books series?
no, no, no.
I will put links to your books below. Are they on Amazon as well as still
I
available to download?
I don't. They're available to download, yes, on the Internet Archive, and they're also on YouTube, and most importantly on my Substack. I'm telling people, I'm saying this everywhere, subscribe to my Substack. Don't subscribe to my YouTube. I am trying to get off of YouTube permanently.
Okay. I'll put
So
a
the
link
minute
to your
I,
Substack.
yeah, so the minute I have one more subscriber on Substack than on YouTube, I'm quitting YouTube.
Well, that should happen after this video. After I get it uploaded, you'll get one more, and I'll put your PayPal underneath and your Substack, not your YouTube, your Facebook, maybe.
Yeah, and my book. Just I can send
Yeah.
you the link where they can go to download all four volumes. Volume 5 is being written now, and then there's another volume after that, and then I will have finished the story of this one altar.
It's
So,
a great
yeah,
read. I think I've been through three or four of them. Yeah, they're a great read. And when you read them, you'll understand why it's very hard to explain John because he's got so many different alters and they've all lived on different planets and had different missions and different timelines. So
yeah.
you'll
And what's
start to
in
get,
when I've finished the book, I think I'll maybe have approached like 1% of what I remember. Like it's, you know, and it's an before people say they're super jealous of it, don't be. It's an incredibly exhausting existence to have
yeah,
to store this many lives and this much information in your head, all while being a normal person. It's a curse, frankly.
yeah, and I think it's important for people to understand that these assets came about because of torture. You would
A lot
torture
of them
into,
did.
yeah, from, mind splitting and then cybernetics. Were you made into a cybernetic by Kruger in one of
Uh,
your
mm,
altars?
all of the Kruger people remember me. I don't remember that. I have memories of Kruger being around me. I don't remember being one of them, but
Yeah.
all of the other Kruger people seem to remember me, so presumably it's true. Um, we all have at least one altar in the main factions, and then yeah. Mm. But and everyone has cybernetic augments to some degree.
All of us,
Yeah, yeah.
positive and negative. I know if you took the jab, you've got reassembling nanotech. Is that what you're talking about, or something very different?
Uh, I mean, if you're in the programs,
Oh, you're in the
you'll have
program.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll have it. I don't believe in necessarily positive or negative. I think everything is about how it's used.
Mhm. What is your prophecy for disclosure of the secret space program and what's really going on in the universe? Do you think that's going to happen anytime soon?
I don't think that'll ever happen. I'm sorry to say.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Because the elites would never do that. That would be their dirtiest secret. And their biggest secret, and it would be, if people realized they could just go anywhere in the galaxy that would have them and live out their lives, there would be no reason to do any of the things we do here. So
It could
hopefully,
come. organically from the people without the approval. If
No,
we
it
hadn't,
couldn't. I don't. You have to have proof and files and physical evidence, which we just don't have. Did the recording just? Oh no, it's still going. Okay. You have to have all those things we don't have, and to get a hold of those, we would have to fight for it physically, and we don't have planet-killing weapons, which they do. And they would gladly, in a heartbeat, blow up the planet before letting most people know what's going on.
it
This is
seems
why
to
they
me,
don't. This is why they don't seem to care that much that we do these shows, because
hmm,
there's if they're left in charge and everything, there will never be proof.
yeah, I was going to say that does seem like there's an expansion of consciousness, like whereas you can go around talking about, ET and space travel and super soldiers now, but maybe that's still a fringe group of us.
It is. It very much is.
What are your plans for getting off the planet?
I don't know. I mean, I know that I won't be allowed to. Uh, I know that when I die in this body, I will rehome to one of my altars. So, unless space travel is opened up and I'm able to leave of my own volition, I'm kind of stuck here for life.
And you're young.
Hmm.
You're very young.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be a good thing, but maybe not in your case. You don't want to be here another 70, 60 years.
Well, I think maybe life will improve here, maybe,
I do too.
possibly,
I
but
think it's going to too.
we'll see.
Are you still trying to get away from your current situation where you're living?
Yes,
All
yes,
right. I'll put that next to your PayPal, that information. So thank you, John. It wasn't exactly like I expected. That was partly my responsibility. I didn't go live again. And I don't know
yeah.
what happened to Newskin. I hope he got the link. I hope he's okay. But I
I'm
think we
sure he's fine. He probably just got the time wrong. So,
Yeah, well,
all
what
right.
he and I are on the same time frame, so that's one person or of a few that are on mountain time with me. So usually we get it pretty good. But
Yeah,
thank you for your time. I know it's hard for you to get away and to do these
yeah,
videos. So thank you so much.
yeah. On Monday, Jane and it'll be hosted on my show, and I don't know exactly when I'll post it, probably that night. But anyway, Jane and I are going to be recording a show for my USAPs in Cinema series, and this is about The Wizard of Oz. Both of us were programmed with that movie in very different times, and so I thought it would be good to get someone from the early-ish era of that movie's use as a programming film and compare it to mine. So,
Yeah, that'd be
and we're
very
gonna
interesting.
and we're gonna
Yeah,
talk also about the movies and the author of the original books' connections to theosophy and etc. So stay tuned for that. That'll be a really good show.
yeah, I'm actually nervous because I know it was my major programming and I know I haven't gone deep into it yet. So I'm sure it's going to be revelatory for me. There's no
Me
question it was
too.
my major. I watched it constantly. I was obsessed. I wore red, sparkly, ruby red shoes and I bought them for my daughters and I thought that was a good thing. They're just, it's so innate and interwoven in my life. So it's going to be a ride for me, I'm sure, but I'm looking forward to it.
Me
Thank
too.
you.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks,
Anything
John.
else we need? You're very welcome. Anything else we need to
Um,
discuss?
I don't think so. If we can do it on Facebook later, or you can call me or
All
I've
right.
got all the photos, and I was going to show them the
Uh,
way I did it today, if that's acceptable, unless you think I should put it in like a Google
yeah.
file. It was okay?
Uh, yeah. Yeah. Well, no, you should use a Google file, I think.
All right,
Just
okay. We can talk
okay.
about that. And sorry, everyone, I did not go live. I don't know what is going on with me, but I will figure it out because I think it'd be fun to have a chat. And I will put below, I'll talk to New Skin and find out, and I'll put that below the video too.
All right.
So thank you, John.
All right. See ya.
See ya. So thank you, everyone. Again, I don't know what happened with live. It's so weird. But I will do it. And I'm now monetized, and I don't know what that means for my viewer. I hope you're not seeing weird ads. If you are, let me know. I think I clicked skippable ads, so I hope that's the outcome. I know there's going to be some sort of subscription thing too, first layer, second layer. I believe second layer is a once a week video, like a group call with me to do. I will do long distance healing for you, and it'll be more like intimate discussions. I'm just trying to remember what I filled out. I think there'd be a once a week group with me, private, for the top tier subscribers, and I will also, at the end of that, do a group healing, sending out Reiki, and uh, I share my power with you in a sense, my guides. So that will be tier one, the highest. I think that's like $9.99 a month. And then there's another tier where I think you're going to get discount on my merchandise, which I'm putting together. I make all kinds of organic skin cream, and I'm going to make herbal sachets, eventually t-shirts and coffee cups. I can't believe it, but I'm going to do it. I think it'll be fun. So thank you again. And I will put information if you want a Reiki healing, a shamanic healing, a remote view. I'll put the link to my website below. I'll put my email if you have questions or comments that you don't want to leave below the video. And thank you again. Again, we could go so deep into some of these topics, but I think we did a good job of uh, covering the surface topics of Apollo 1, the Katy Perry landing or trip, supposedly, and then the Artemis 2, which I personally, believe they were all fake. And I could do a whole video on why I think it is, because mine comes from more of a psychic energy reading, remote view, and John's came from actually being. I've been on the moon and Mars too, but I don't have the extent of the memories. I was with James Rankin one. I think he rescued me from a breeding factory. They were using me to reproduce the Germans, I believe. But anyway, again, there's so much to talk about, and I'm not going to get into that too much right now. Again, thank you so much. And I will talk to everybody soon, or at least I remember to record it.